The question of management as opposed to trying cases, that's been one of the criticisms.
The criticism from my opponent?
From your opponent, that you have, some of the time that you've spent trying cases, that's obviously pretty much of a full-time job to take on a major case, and that when you're in the courtroom, you're not directing the other people.
Okay, I'm not totally familiar with the total critique of that aspect, but I have heard him say that we have a difference in philosophy, and that his opinion would be that the elected district attorney should be a manager and let other people handle the cases. We do have a difference in philosophy. And for years, the elected district attorney in Galveston County has been responsible for trying cases. And I think, and we're talking about serious cases, there's no doubt we're talking about the capital murder cases and very high profile cases. I wish I had a specific instance that he was critiquing, but in any event, the idea that the elected DA is not responsible is, yeah, I take exception to it. When we had capital cases to try, the cases that I was involved in necessarily from the beginning, because the district attorney is ultimately going to be making a decision on what we're going to pursue on those cases. And when I say from the beginning, I'm talking about the law enforcement agencies, from the date that the crime happened, from the date the body was discovered, whatever the case may be. And we're involved with it, making decisions based on our experience about what needs to be done with those cases. You can't substitute that experience. The elected, in my humble opinion, the elected DA can't remove himself from that process, the investigative process, and the elected DA is the one that ends up really knowing the most about the case in the office to begin with. Now, if he's talking about my last 5 trials, let's see, the 2 Baby Grace trials, the Jamaica Beach capital murder, 1, 2, 3, and then the grandson and getaway driver from Texas City capital murder of grandparents. At the time of those cases, there's no doubt that I was the most qualified attorney in the office to try those cases. There's no choice to be made when you are the most qualified attorney in the office to try those cases. So I understand if you don't have those qualifications that you have to come in and say, I guess, that the elected DA needs to be the administrator of the office. But by the same token, when you have the experience to try these cases, and there is no substitute for having the best effort made in the courtroom, and the elected DA is the guy that has the most experience, and the elected DA is going to try the case. We're different now. We have a little bit different situation. We're very fortunate because of timing in Harris County that we were able to secure 2 top-notch attorneys. And one of them I made my trial bureau chief, Lester Blizzard, and the other true blessing was to get Donna Good out of Harris County too. Now those people, Lester I think has 20 years, Donna has more, 22 or 23 I think. And I have people now that are capable of assuming the role of being the trial attorneys on the most high-profile cases too. Am I still there to step in? Sure, I'll still be there to step in. But we're in a different world now by having those two most recent hires. Has preparing for those trials hurt in the administrative office? I don't believe so. We continue to handle our budget. We continue to handle 70 people in the office. That's also part of the office. Our work with outside agencies, outside law enforcement agencies, Resource and Crisis Center, Children's Advocacy Center, everything continued to happen that we were doing in the office as far as managing the office and making sure we're taking care of our business. So 5 cases in the last, I guess it's 5 years. Those cases haven't kept me from doing my job and the managerial responsibilities of the office. I take issue with that statement. I know what it's grounded in though, but I think it's just grounded in, and you've got to have something to say is what I think this is grounded in. So.
You mentioned those 2 prosecutors that you got from Harris County.
Right.
How did you land them?
We went to Commissioner's Court, and they traditionally, I mean, going back before me, Mike Garino, the DA's office has been the low budget office with salaries, with everything. We've never been exorbitant with our requests from the Commissioner's Court. So when we have a true need, they've always been able to work with us. I articulated to them the true need. We had the opportunity to secure, and we needed a position. I needed a trial bureau chief in my felony section. I wanted somebody to come in. I wanted somebody to also be a trainer and a mentor in-house that people could look up to for some of that same reasoning that was the basis of your first question, because there is a need to also be more of an administrator. I mean, you always try to balance things out, but when the priorities were in place, at the time I'm trying the cases, I had to try those cases. But with the full-time trial bureau chief handling those trials, all the issues that come forward from the remainder of our 15 felony prosecutors, we were able to lighten the load, so to speak, on the elected DA. We got it with the help of the Commissioner's Court. I mean, you know, you're probably going to get to the little morale question. We had to pay people for their experience. You go across the state, and I think you'll see that our salaries, while they may be okay, but they're not the highest across the state. But it necessitated an increase in budget. Commissioner's Court worked with us, and those two hires both are way above any pay scale that we've ever had before in the DA's office. But it's worth it because of the experience, and it's worth it because of the benefit to the office. Not only because of what they can do in the courtroom, but because what they can do in and around our other assistant DAs, working with them too. They've got a lot of more experience to share. You know, it's not just coming from 20 years from the elected DA. I've got other people now in the office that have a lot of time to share too, and experiences.
And I guess what you're saying is that includes yourself. That helps you.
Yeah, yes, sure, it helps. Yes, it helps.
You mentioned your budget. What is the figure in?
I think it's right below $5 million, 4.5 maybe.
And what are the sources of income there? How are you?
In our office, okay. We have our discretionary funds that come in from the seizures and the asset forfeitures from the criminal cases. We're able to use those, and we also have fees that we collect from our hot check division that are our independent monies, separate and apart from the county funds. The income that I guess goes to the rest of the county would be where we're able to collect monies for fines and things like that. But the discretionary funds that I referenced are those monies that we're able to use for our own training and education, supplies, and to offset any taxpayer expenditures. So we were able to take those kind of monies off the roll by using the criminals funds to buy training, supplies, different aspects like that, equipment. And we also we're able to use those monies, and we've funded law enforcement agencies in the purchases of some of their needs too, which we're in the process of doing right now. So that the income is probably primarily the most beneficial to the county in the fines area, the fines that come in through the criminal cases. But we also derive that benefit from those independent discretionary funds. We keep even our professional licenses from the state bar, those memberships we pay through those discretionary funds too. So we may keep, you know, upwards $10,000 to $15,000 off the taxpayer rolls each year by using those discretionary funds.